The remarkable year-end interview with the Canadian Prime Minister unfurled a series of revelations that left many astounded. In a candid exchange, the Prime Minister unveiled his intentions and strategies behind the scenes of a year fraught with diplomatic tension and difficult conversations. The Prime Minister's words painted a vivid picture of the diplomatic chessboard he navigated. His message, delivered with conviction in the House of Commons, was intended as an extra level of deterrence to keep Canadians safer. This was no impulsive decision, but a calculated move, born out of an understanding of the delicate balance of international relations. The stakes were high, with the world's eyes fixed on the G20 summit. The Prime Minister saw this as a crucial moment for India, a burgeoning global power, to assert its leadership on the world stage. He believed that this was not just an opportunity for Canada, but for India as well, to work together and foster a stronger international alliance. However, the Prime Minister's optimism was not shared by all. His frank admission in his interview was a stark contrast to the hopeful outlook he had held at the beginning of the year. When asked whether he felt the talks were constructive, he was blunt. No. The Prime Minister also revealed the pressures of navigating international diplomacy, of managing to keep things on a diplomatic level leading up to the G20 summit. He spoke of the challenges of dealing with sensitive information, of the constant threat of leaks, and of public inquiries into foreign interference. And yet, he stood firm in his conviction that he had a duty to protect Canadians, even if it meant going public with contentious information. This year-end interview with the Prime Minister has not only unveiled a series of revelations, but also shed light on the complexities of leadership and the intricate dance of diplomacy. As we delve deeper into the interview, we are left with one poignant statement from the Prime Minister himself. The talks were not constructive. The Prime Minister's bold step, though, was met with a blunt response. The talks were not constructive. The aftermath of the G20 summit revealed the challenges of diplomacy in an increasingly interconnected world. As the dust settled after the international meeting, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was candid about the difficulties faced by his nation. The diplomatic dance with India, he revealed, was fraught with tension and uncertainty, a testament to the complexities of international relations in our modern age. Trudeau's statement that Canada had warned India about impending revelations was a shocking admission. It shone a light on the delicate balance of power and the fine line that countries tread in their diplomatic relations. It's a game of chess, where every move is calculated and every word weighed. And yet the endgame is often shrouded in ambiguity, as Trudeau's words suggested. The Canadian leader admitted that Ottawa had strived to keep matters on a diplomatic level leading up to the G20 summit. This is a clear indication of the lengths to which nations will go to maintain peace and stability, even when the stakes are high. It's a testament to the power of diplomacy, but also to its inherent challenges. In a world where information is king, the struggle to control the narrative can be an uphill battle. The question of how the information might be revealed added another layer of complexity to the situation. Trudeau himself confessed he didn't know whether the truth would come out through leaks, a public inquiry into foreign interference, or because things had reached a point where Canada had a duty to go public. It was a stark reminder of the precarious nature of international relations, where secrets and power plays can tip the scales at any moment. In the end, the fallout of diplomacy is often unpredictable. It leaves nations walking a tightrope, caught between the need to protect their own interests and the desire to maintain good relations with their counterparts. As Trudeau's statements post the G20 summit showed, serious questions loomed over the threshold of revelations and the duty to protect Canadians. It was a stark reminder of the high stakes in the world of diplomacy, where every decision can have far-reaching implications. The announcement by the Prime Minister stirred an immediate clamour for evidence, not just from India, but domestically as well. Indeed, the waves created by Trudeau's September 18th declaration were felt far and wide, reaching even the most distant corners of the political arena. The reactions were swift and varied, but the most prominent came from none other than Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. A vocal critic of Trudeau, Poilievre was quick to seize upon the Prime Minister's words, demanding a transparency that, in his view, had been noticeably absent. He urged Trudeau to come clean, a phrase that resonated with many and echoed the sentiments of a public eager for truth and clarity. But it wasn't just Poilievre. The announcement also sent ripples through the ranks of the Conservative Party, prompting calls for evidence from a wide spectrum of voices. The collective demand was clear. If such an assertion was to be made, it needed to be backed by substantial and tangible proof. The public, too, was not silent. Canadians, ever vigilant and invested in the affairs of their nation, responded with a mixture of concern, curiosity, and skepticism. Social media platforms were abuzz with discussions and debates, with many citizens seeking answers to the questions raised by Trudeau's announcement. Meanwhile, India's reaction was one of steadfast denial. The Ministry of External Affairs, fresh from instituting an inquiry into allegations of organized crime and trafficking, maintained that Canada had provided no evidence to support its claims. The question of equitable treatment, they argued, did not arise in the absence of such evidence. The aftermath of Trudeau's announcement was a whirlwind of speculation, questions, and demands for proof. The call for evidence became a rallying cry, a mantra repeated by politicians and citizens alike. It was a testament to the power of words and the impact they can have when spoken by those in positions of authority. The call for evidence became a loud echo resonating across the political landscape. A reminder that, in the world of politics, every statement carries weight, every claim requires substantiation, and every leader is accountable to their people. This was not just a call for evidence. It was a call for transparency, accountability, and truth. India's Ministry of External Affairs took a firm stance, maintaining that Canada had provided no evidence to support its allegations. This statement set a resolute tone for India's response to the claims made by Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau. India, a country known for its robust democratic values, took these allegations seriously. The Ministry of External Affairs, a pillar of the country's governance, did not hesitate to address the situation. In an attempt to shed light on the truth, it instituted an inquiry into matters of organized crime and trafficking, demonstrating India's commitment to global safety and security. This inquiry wasn't just a standard procedure, it was a testament to India's respect for the rule of law and its dedication towards global peace. The investigation focused on the nexus of organized crime and human trafficking, specifically regarding an alleged murder attempt on a US national. This showed that India was not shying away from its responsibilities on the global stage, but rather was actively working to uncover the truth. However, India's stance remained clear. Canada had not provided any concrete evidence to back its claims. The Ministry of External Affairs maintained that without evidence, the allegations were baseless. This position highlighted the importance of factual accuracy in diplomacy, a principle that India firmly adheres to. Furthermore, India raised a critical point, the question of equitable treatment. The ministry argued that without any evidence from Canada, there was no basis for equitable treatment between the two countries. This statement underscored India's belief in fairness and equality in international relations. It showed that India would not be swayed by mere allegations, but would stand its ground based on facts and principles. In conclusion, India's stance remained steadfast, highlighting its commitment to truth, justice, and the rule of law. It showed that India was willing to engage in difficult conversations, but it would not compromise on its principles. The question of equitable treatment remains unanswered, creating a sense of anticipation for future developments. As the world watches, the ball now lies in Canada's court. Will it provide the evidence needed to substantiate its claims, or will it retract its allegations? Only time will tell. The year-end interview with the Canadian Prime Minister opened a Pandora's box of international diplomacy, leaving many questions unanswered. As we reflect on the revelations from this interview, let's revisit the key points we've discussed. The Prime Minister's message in the House of Commons was intended as an extra level of deterrence to keep Canadians safer. Trudeau knew this would spark difficult conversations, but saw this as an opportunity for India to demonstrate its leadership on the world stage during the G20 summit. However, things did not pan out as expected. The fallout of diplomacy was evident. Trudeau was blunt when asked about the talks, simply stating no when questioned if they were constructive. He revealed that Canada had warned India that what it knew would eventually come out. Despite efforts to keep things on a diplomatic level leading up to the G20, Canada could not control what happened beyond that. This announcement was met with immediate calls for evidence, not just from India, but also from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who urged Trudeau to come clean. The demand for transparency and evidence took center stage, leaving Trudeau in a challenging position. India's stance was also clear. The Ministry of External Affairs, which had recently instituted an inquiry into matters related to organized crime and trafficking, maintained that Canada had provided no evidence about its allegations. Therefore, they argued, the question of equitable treatment for the two countries did not arise. As we've seen, this year-end interview with the Canadian Prime Minister has caused ripples in international diplomacy. The fallout, the calls for evidence, and the stance of India have all added fuel to this fire. As we wait for more revelations to unfold, it's clear that this story is far from over. As we wait for more revelations to unfold, remember to subscribe to our channel for more insightful analysis on global affairs.